Oh Lord, I don't know what direction this video is gonna go in, but I need this therapeutic release. Y'all, I was trying to lay down some baby hairs. I finally bought me a one of those little baby hair combs, and or rent due was about to be due. So I had to choose between picking some $11 edge control and some $3 edge control. And so I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy the cheaper edge control so I can get some practice in. And then, you know, when bigger expenses such as rent ain't due, then I'm gonna come back and get this $11 edge control. Cause see, I'm a firm believer in a price point, okay? Now let me say this too, because it was a $3 container edge control. It was $8, like a $9 container edge control, and about $11 to $12 container edge control. I strongly considered while I was at the store today to get that $8 edge control, but I stopped and I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Don't do that, girl. Don't do that. Because what this lets me know is that, and of course I'm looking at, you know, ounce per ounce per like cent or ounce per dollar, whatever the situation is. And the $11 edge control had less ounces per cent or per dollar. I don't really know how it's calculated, right? So I said to myself, okay, this lets me know that there's something about this edge control that is probably worth the money they're asking for. Because here's the thing, right? This is something that I've learned. If two things have the same ounce per cent or ounce per dollar, wait, no, what I'm saying? Yeah, if two things have the same ounce per cent and ounce per dollar, or ounce per dollar, but one is charging more, don't pay a higher price, okay? Go ahead and go with the lower priced item. If you're getting lesser product for your dollar, go with the, if one item is giving you lesser product for more cent or more dollars, then go with that product. This is not a concrete rule, right? But just from user experience and things like that, I have learned that usually, even though it costs more, you get what you pay for. And don't let the smaller amount that you're gonna buy for more money discourage you, because it usually will last longer, right? So I'm gonna go back and I said all of this to say I'm gonna go back and get that $2 edge control and see what it's working with, right? And like I said, it's not a concrete rule, it's not a concrete law, because some stuff is like really overpriced, and they use that same, you know, model that I just said about ounce per dollar or ounce per cent or whatever the situation is, and it really don't be worth its weight, you know. I say that because, like, for me, where perfume is concerned, or a parfum, I think is what it's called, you typically get a better quality of parfums if you pay more for less. It's because you don't need that much, right? Whereas if you go to like a shop that may be selling you a fragrance that smells good, but it's cheaper and you're getting more, that means you probably have to use more in order for it to really do its due diligence. And then you also have to have the type of knowledge to understand when to stop, because there is some perfume and fragrances that have a lot more alcohol than the actual essential oil or whatever that is in it that is carrying the scent or carrying the fragrance. And so if you spray too much of a parfum at a cheaper price point, then it can get lost. The fragrance can get lost and the amount that you've used, and you can lose the undertones of the parfum. That's the whole point of buying more expensive fragrances, because good fragrances have undertones that if you use just enough, as you wear it throughout the day, those undertones start to sync with your body chemistry, and then it just gives it a more pleasant smell over time. But nonetheless, I'm just rambling. I'm just rambling like I always do. But I had to come on here because I just recently found out some stuff that I already knew, right? It wasn't a secret, it wasn't a surprise, but sometimes, thank you, God, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Holy Spirit, sometimes you just have to let a situation play out. Sometimes you just have to let a rat find the cheese in the mousetrap before you can actually give it any type of reaction. And then sometimes when the truth does come to fruition, you can't even react then. It's so crazy because I was talking to my little brother today, and I was talking to him about maturity and basically explaining to him that mature people, or maturity requires people who are mature to take the higher road approach. And that can be hard because emotions are so inconvenient and they're so uncomfortable. And as I'm telling him this, I'm able to speak to it clear to him because he called me or caught me in a moment where I was literally fuming, furious, layered with emotion. And I still had to keep my composure in the situation in order for me to be able to leave the situation without exploding or causing a mess of the situation, and allowing myself to step away from the situation long enough to deal with my emotions, so that way I can cope and bring this feeling down so I can keep the more mature, graceful, high road approach. And so that way nobody that was on the other end of what could have happened, so that way they didn't receive what could have came from me handling my emotions from an immature standpoint. Now, trust me when I tell you, to get to a point where I am mature, or I am maturing as far as being more logical when my emotions are present, it has taken a work. Okay. But I'm not one to shy away from the fact that I'm human and I have emotions, right? I'm not the type of person to think that I'm so logical that in my feelings, I'm never in my feelings. This is that and the other. People who think that they're not as logical as they want to believe that they are. But nonetheless, I found out that some ideas that I have presented over the years in the department that I'm in, one of the ideas, they actually let us know that they were going to be doing this weeks ago. And I didn't respond. I didn't react. I knew that I should have dealt with it, but there's so much other stuff going on right now that I just didn't really have time to deal with that. And at the end of the day, I'm not surprised because this is what these corporations do. Okay. So I put it to the back of my mind and was just working through it, trying to think about the situation differently, approach the situation differently so I can move on from the situation, because my life does not stop here with this particular department and what I'm going through here. I press on. And then today we're in a meeting and one of my teammates says, well, I've actually been working on this thing and I'm going to send it out to y'all. And it's something that I brought up 5 years ago in a different department, presented it to upper management and upper leadership. Upper leadership bought the idea so much that they brought in the design team to help me design this thing in a particular software that the entire department, and eventually what we were hoping for the entire company that has to do customer facing interactions mainly over the phone, we're going to be able to use. When I got out of that department, when I left that department, because long story short, bunch of stuff ended up happening in that department that was unfair and was not right. So I realized at that moment, y'all, this is how y'all gonna be and this is who y'all is. I'm out. When I left, I took my idea with me. And when I came to this new department, they were asking about, innovative and blah, 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 creative, da, 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 da. Me still being young, not really understanding the shark-infested waters that is corporate America, I brought up this idea to the manager that I was with at the time. Next thing I know, he in the meeting, this was like almost 3 or 4 years ago, he in the meeting talking about, well, I got this project going on if anybody want to sign up for it. I'm like, why would you create a project of something that I gave you an idea about without coming to me first and being like, hey, we're going to do the idea and I'm going to bring some other people on? But it don't matter. You presented it. So I said, yeah, I'll do it because it's my idea. We start working on a prototype. We start brainstorming, trying to figure out how exactly it's going to be effective and it's going to be efficient. And I thought it was a great opportunity because in the other department, I didn't really get the opportunity to like really give my idea. Like, this is how I think it should go. The design team kind of took over and was like trying to tell me how to put this here, this there, all those type of situations, right? Which is weird because I just recently had a meeting with the senior director of design, and for some reason, if my memory serves me correct, I think at the time that I was trying to put this together, I don't think she was the senior director. I think she was the woman that I was working with. Who knows? Nonetheless, we get to working on this thing, we get to brainstorming. I literally built the blueprint, I built the prototype, I put the formulas into the prototype. My whole IP is in this thing about trying to figure out what's the best way, how we can make this thing work in the best possible way. Next thing I know, the project just gets scrapped. Nobody's interested in working on it anymore. It's not really going anywhere. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Left it alone. But something told me to make copies of this prototype. It gets deep, y'all. So we move along. Years have passed. I even put this particular prototype in a presentation that I did when I was trying to get them to separate certain associates and give them another like department experience to operate in for the purpose of, stopping certain numbers from increasing that was negatively impacting the department. Didn't hear nothing about it. Last month, and this is when people's guilt kick in. Last month, we had like a company outing, and I had to go with the particular manager who I presented this to at the time. I'm not on that manager's team anymore. He brings up this project that we were working on years ago. I haven't talked to him about this project in forever. And now now it's starting to make sense because I thought about this the other day before any of this happened. This is why I just be like, God is just so good. This is why you have to trust him. Trust him. The other day, randomly, I thought about this situation and I was like, he was very startled. He had a very spooked out look. That's the best way that I can explain it. When he saw me, and then as the day continued on, I would catch him looking at me, like not in a daze, not like in a trance, but kind of like in a way where, like I said, the best way I can explain it, it was like he was spooked out. It was almost as if he thought that I was not a part of the department or something anymore. I'm not sure, which lets me know, because this was all of maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. This is probably when all of this stuff came up, when the idea of this stuff came up. Who really knows? I don't know. But nonetheless, today in the meeting, this particular team member says, I finished the note builder. I don't know if I said that's what I was working on. I was working on a note builder. I feel like I said it, but I've been talking and my mind is just like really trying to process all of this in real time at the same time. He says, I finished the note builder. Excuse me? Hey sir, excuse me. Yeah, I sure did. Right in the middle. What note builder you talking about? Oh, I sent a copy of it. Oh, let me pull that up record. Oh, this looks real familiar. When you start working on this? Oh, okay. Let me holler at you after this meeting because this is my idea. Everything about this has my IP all over it. The only thing you've done is reorganized it and recolored it in a way. But I get into the meeting with this young man. I have an side meeting with him because I'm letting him know, y'all are putting my name on this. Quit playing with me. All for him to tell me that he made mention of needing a better way to take notes. And he brought it up to the old manager. And see, now that I say it out loud, there's some stuff about this, there's some components about this, that's some BS, right? He brought it up to the old manager. The old manager sent him my prototype. The young man who has now made the note builder removed all of my stuff. But see, this is where the glory of God falls, it rains down. Because I made about 4 or 5 copies of that thing. I don't even remember when, but if I had to say, I would probably say it was about a year or 2 ago. Because I kept revisiting it, because it's something that I've been working on for years. I was actually inspired by another guy who had kind of created something like that in the refinance department. And I was like, hey, that's a good idea. We can do blah, 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 this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. I'm bringing it all together. And he was like, go for it. Like, I don't really care. I don't even think he worked for the company no more. And the department, that refinance department ain't even around anymore. So nonetheless, I'm like, this is wild. This is wild. So the guy who made it, he was like, who presented it today saying he had it done. He was like, yeah, I tried to use the one that you made, but it was just a little confusing. I bet it was, because it was just a brainstorm. But I said, don't worry about it. Now you can stay on the project. I don't care what y'all do at this point. Do all the hard work if you want to. I'm going on this project as the progenitor, because the blueprint, the prototype, the idea, and everything else is mine. It's been mine. I presented this years ago, and leadership got behind it. And then on top of that, here they are rolling out some idea that they trying to, make it seem like, oh, we came up with this whole fancy idea. I told the manager about this last year. Mighty interesting how now y'all about to create a whole new thing as if, y'all just had this grand, rapid, spanking idea. Today confirmed what I have been knowing. Y'all been taking my ideas and trying to use it as yours. And that's not anything that anybody who has ever worked in corporate is surprised about. What ends up happening though, go back to the note builder. See, the manager who sent that blueprint to the dude who worked on it and is presented it as his idea now, I'm the owner of the prototype. So you can send it to whoever you want to, but you can't remove my name. Well, guess what happened today? I removed his access, removed anybody else's access from them copies that I originally created, and restricted access to anybody in the company. You can't have it. Since y'all want to play dirty, now we got to bring the claws out. You can't have it. And then my manager going to come to me talking about, well, you were away from I was away from my desk for some time, because if I sit in this space, somebody getting cussed out. And I'm far from that girl. I'm not her no more. I got to I've spent enough money on therapy. I'm a make my money worthwhile. I came in here to talk to my therapist about how I need to look at this situation until this situation passes so I can move on from this department. I stopped giving them ideas a long time ago. But what happens is when you plant a good seed, it can't do nothing but grow. And so the idea has grown, but they didn't have the original thought. They didn't have the original idea. So they think that they've done something magnificent, and they have not done that. They have just taken my intellectual property and have taken it as their own, taken the main purpose or the main foundational piece of it, and have just added stuff on top of it. Bro, I'm hot. I am boiling right now, if you can't tell. And sometimes, this is what I came over here to say. Sometimes you have to go through these things, because if you don't feel these feelings, going through what you're going through is worthless. It's useless. The whole point of us going through things that stretch us, things that we have to go through. I was watching a video of Jordan Peterson yesterday. He called it bearing your cross. The point of bearing your cross is knowing that there's going to be things that you're going to feel through this, but you got to feel it so it makes what you're going through worth it. So that in the end, God gets the glory for it. Because your feelings are letting you know that if you handle it, you can't do it. Your feelings is letting you know you under God's refuge. Because I promise you, as I'm talking to this young man, because, you know, I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to look at it from positive intent. It ain't his fault. It ain't his fault, okay? And I'm going to keep it there for the sake of being able to move on from this situation. But everybody else who was a part of it and handed him that stuff, they knew what was up. That's why that manager brought that up at that outing that we was at about a month and a half ago. That's why he was looking at me the way that he was looking at me, because he was startled. He knew at that moment he handed my idea off to somebody. I really, truly, and honestly believe that he didn't think I was in the company anymore because I had been gone for an extended period of time. But see, that's how stuff gets flipped up and tricked up, and people end up taking the bait off of information that's false. No, I'm still here. I'm still here. Still here. You made a rash decision because you thought I wasn't here no more. But I'm telling you, the whole time I'm talking to the young man who presented it to our team, talking about, oh, the note builder's done now, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. See, this is why I'm saying I'm going to give positive intent to him, and I believe he really didn't know. Because if he would have known, he wouldn't have sat in that meeting and presented something that he knew came from somebody who originally made it in the first place. I truly don't think he knew. But that's why in the end I said, you know what, don't worry about it, because this has been something that I have been in prayer about and stuff over time. And so what this is, come on, Holy Spirit. What this is God showing me he's in control. That's number one. What this is God showing me that do not touch my anointed. Do not touch my prophets or my anointed. Don't do it. Because for 5 years, they have been trying to take this from me. They have been trying to take this from me because of how good of an idea it is. But they haven't been able to. Because I'm the owner. I'm the progenitor. You can't outdo the doer, baby. That's why for the last 5 years, y'all ain't been able to do nothing about it. The young man who who started working on it, who used my blueprint to create what he created now, him asking, is there a better way for us to take notes? It's all a part of the plan. All it did was bring it right back alive, to bring it right back to me. And oh my God, during this time, in the meantime and in between time, I've been networking with the design department. And I had a meeting with a lady who's talent acquisition of the design department today. This is our second meeting that we've had. And she's giving me a lot of resources. And I thought about this morning. I'm going to tell her about this note builder. But we got so caught up in what we were doing that it didn't cross my mind. And then this came up. So I'm definitely 100%. When I get a chance, I'm going to reach out to her and I'm going to explain to her, hey, this was an idea I had. It's been in the works. Folks been trying to take it from me since I came up with it. Is there anything that I can do to get a hold of design? See, I got the cohort behind me now. And one thing she said this to me. She said, you got support around you. You got support around you. Baby, listen. Like I said, God is showing me he's in control. God is letting me know that they can't take nothing from me. What's mine is mine. If God gave it to me, it belongs to me. And if you just keep on praying, God will bring in the right team. It may not even look like who you thought it was going to be. But all of them people who was lining up trying to get their name on that years ago, that wasn't the right team. That wasn't the right team. But God is bringing together how he wants this thing to be worked on and how he wants it done. Because like I told the young man, no, keep your name on it. Because he actually did do a due diligence to the organization of it. But we going in this together, bruh. Just letting you know. And I don't care who mad. Because I'm mad too.